everyone, welcome to another Yarn Scrap Friday with me, Laura, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make my little Christmas elf. But this little elf doesn't have to be a Christmas elf. You can make him for any occasion in any colour. But I think for this tutorial, I'm going to be using I think I'll use some pink, some green and some white cotton yarn. This is a DK, light worsted weight yarn. It's a yarn weight of 3. But you can use any yarn that you like that you have to hand. You're also going to need a tiny little bit of black as well, just for the eyes and the mouth. And with this yarn, I'm going to be using a 2.5mm crochet hook, but you can use any hook size that you like that's suitable for the yarn that you're using. You're also going to need a pair of scissors and a yarn tapestry needle as well for sewing in those ends. So that's one with a big eye at the end. You're also going to need some toy stuffing as well, so get yourself some polyester toy stuffing. You can also use yarn scraps as well if you like, because he's quite a small little character. Now I'm also going to be using a little button. I've added a little button to his belly, so you can do that as well if you want to. This is just about 1 centimetre in diameter. And I've also added a little bell on the end. I had a bigger one on here, and I've got some little bells I picked up from the Works in the UK, so you can probably pick these up from your local craft store or online. So I'm going to add a little bell as well, and I think that's about it, so let's begin. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the white. We're going to start from the head and work downwards. So what we're going to start off with is a chain 4 loop. You can use the magic circle technique as well if you want to, so hopefully you can see the white well enough on camera. But we're going to do a little slip knot to begin. It's quite a simple beginning. To do a chain 4 loop, we just chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, chain 4, and we're going to put our hook into our first chain. So find your first chain just by your slip knot, put your hook into there, bring the yarn through that first chain and straight through the loop on your hook. That creates a little loop of your 4 chains joined at the beginning and the end, which I always say, and in the middle is a hole. Don't confuse it with your first chain hole, which can look quite big. You need to find that center hole, and into that center hole we are going to work 8 single crochet. Now this pattern's in US terminology, but in UK terminology that's a double crochet. We want 8 single crochets. So let's put our hook into the middle, then bring the yarn through, and then just wrapping it around the chains, we do a single crochet. Okay, we want 8 of those. So that's 1. Go back into the center. It should be a bit easier to see. Bring the yarn through, yarn over, pull for both loops. So 8, so that's 2, 3, 'I'm really fiddly. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You might have to just move over just to fit the last one in. 8. So we've got 8 single crochet in that 4 chain loop, and if you've worked into the center you should be able to just pull your tail end and it almost works like a magic circle. Just bring in that hole. Then what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch into our first single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Find that first one that you did and put your hook into there. Make sure to go under the 2 bits of yarn. Bring the yarn through that first single crochet straight through the loop on your hook to join the round. So by the end of that round you should have 8 stitches. Okay, so moving on to round 2, what we're going to do first is we're going to do a little chain 1 to begin. Little chain 1, but don't count that as a stitch, it's just for leverage. And then we're going to go back into the same single crochet we just slip stitched into. So go back into that first single crochet and do 2 single crochet. I'm going to do 2 in there. So there's 1. Go back into there again. Do another one. 2. We're going to do 2 single crochet into each stitch around. So we're doubling up our stitch count from 8 to 16. So find the next stitch. Do 2 single crochet in there. 1, another one, 2. Okay, 2 in there, and 2 in each stitch around. So you've got a stitch count of 16. 2 in there, 6, then 7 and 8, 14, and then the last one, 15 and 16. Okay, 15, another one in there, 16. So you've worked 2 single crochet into each stitch around, so it doubles up the stitch count. It looks like there's 1 stitch left. That's what I call the fake stitch. That's my little terminology there. We're going to skip that little fake stitch. Make sure you count as you go, and you've got 16. Skip that. Skip your tiny chain 1 that's probably disappeared. Find your first single crochet and put your hook into there and do a slip stitch. Your first single crochet, yarn through there, straight for the loop on your hook to do a slip stitch. That joins the end of round 2. Now we're going to do one more increase round. We're going to, on round 3, we're going to start off with a chain 1 again. Again, don't count that as a stitch. This time we're going to do a pattern of 1 single crochet, then 2 single crochet, 1 single crochet, then 2 single crochet. Starting in the same stitch you just slip stitched into, we're going to do 1 single crochet in there. Then in the next stitch we do 2 single crochet. So 1 and another one in the same stitch. Okay, so 2 in there. Then we go back to doing 1 single crochet, just the 1, just 1, then 2 single crochet. We're going to repeat this pattern all the way back to the beginning. You'll end on 2 single crochet, and you should have a stitch count of 24. Okay, so then back to 1 single crochet, then 2 single crochet, 1 and 2. Okay, it's just coming up to the last 2 stitches. So again, 1 single crochet in the next stitch following the same pattern, then ending on 2 single crochets. We end on 2 single crochet, 1 and another one in the same stitch, 2. Okay, so we've done a pattern of 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, back to the beginning, ending on 2 single crochet, and you should have a stitch count of 24. Okay, 24. Then all we need to do, there's our little fake stitch there. I'm going to skip that, skip your chain 1, which is really small, can't see it. Find your first proper stitch, your first single crochet, and slip stitch into there to join the round. Okay, so by the end of that round, you should have a stitch count of 24. Now we're going to do rounds 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So that's 5 rounds of just 1 single crochet in each stitch around. Okay, so that's 5 rounds of just 1 stitch in each. But we're going to start off each round with a chain 1, don't count that as a stitch, and start your first stitch in the same stitch you slip stitched into. So do 1 single crochet in there. We're going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch around, so just 1 in each, just 1, keeping a stitch count of 24, and you're going to slip stitch in your first stitch to join the round at the end of each round. So we're going to do that for 5 rounds. Okay, 5 rounds. So I should do that, then I'll come back. Okay, so I'm just coming up to the last stitch on the last round, and hopefully you've got something that looks a little something like this. It's creating the length, so it's not increasing anymore. If it's still increasing, it means you're adding stitches somewhere. So you should still have a stitch count of 24, and you should have done 5 rounds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, of just 1 single crochet in each stitch around. Starting in the same stitch you slip stitch into, chaining 1 at the beginning, don't count that as a stitch, and slip stitching in your first single crochet to join the round, and I'm just about to do that now. But what I'm going to do is, instead of slip stitching with the white, I'm going to now join my next colour, because we're going to start creating the body. Okay, so I'm going to do it in, what colour should I do? I was going to do green. Let's get the green. Okay, he's going to have a green jumper on, and instead of yarning over with the white, just going to put that down. I'm going to place the green over my hook. Just hold that with your finger on the inside, bring that through that first single crochet, a bit neater than me, and through the loop on your hook, and then just pull your tail ends to tighten that. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to do exactly the same thing again. We're going to do one single crochet in each stitch around. We're going to do that for 7 rounds now, so that's going to be rounds 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so 7 rounds of doing a chain 1 to begin. So we'll do a little chain 1 to secure. Chain 1 to begin, don't count that as a stitch, and starting in the same stitch you just slip stitched into, do your first single crochet and do 1 single crochet in each stitch around, keeping a stitch count of 24. I'm going to do that for 7 rounds this time, 7 rounds. So I should do that and then I shall come back. Well, one thing I will do though is I'm just going to cut my white, so it's going to be a bit blurry. Just going to cut the white now. We're finished with our white, so we move that out of the way, and then you can just tie these two together to secure if you want to. So right, I'm going to carry on. Okay, so I'm just coming up to the last stitch on the 7th round. I've done 7 rounds of 1 single crochet in each stitch around, doing a chain 1 at the beginning, and we're going to slip stitch into our first stitch to join the round. Okay, so once you've done that, you should still have a stitch count of 24, and hopefully it looks a little something like this. Let's bring up a loop, because what we're going to do now, while the bottom's still open, is we're going to sew on a face and sew on the button. So next thing to do is get yourself a little short strand of the black yarn, and we're going to sew him a little face. So we're going to get our yarn needle, and for the face we're going to start off with the mouth first. So making sure the seam is at the back, so we can hide that at the back. I want to work at the front, and we're going to just the second row up of the white. So 1, 2 on this second row is we're going to do the mouth first. We're going to do a little V shape to begin. So I'm just going to come out, going to put my needle in on the inside and then come out through, so the tail's on the inside. Leave a little bit of a tail just for knotting at the end. And then I'm going to, let's have a look, just going to sew over, and then I'm going to come out the other side like that. So it creates one side of the V, and then I'm just going to come back down to where I started. And then I'm going to come out through the bottom for now. Okay, so that's our little mouth, and then we're going to work the little eyes, and they're going to be upside down V's, so almost like little N's, and they're going to be on the 4th row up. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we end up with 1 row gap in between, and I'm going to work it about a stitch over. So I'm going to come out about there, and going to go up and then down. This just creates a little simple face. Okay, so that's the first side, and I'm going to go back in to the top. Then I'm going to come over, so I've got about 1 stitch in between the mouth and the eye. I do the same at this side. Come over about there. Okay, so that's one eye. Then I'm going to go up to the top and then down. then back to the top, make sure that looks alright, back to the top and out through the bottom. Okay, take the needle off, and there we go, there's his little face. So 2 little upside down V's for the eyes and a normal V for the mouth, and if you want to you can just turn it inside out and tie the black strands in place so they won't unravel. And the next thing to do is to sew on the button onto his belly. So let's just do this knot. Okay, turn it the right way around again. And you can tuck all these strands on the inside, all the back. You can trim it down if you want, if it shines through a bit too much. Okay, so what we're going to do now, there's his little face. Then we're going to get our button, and I'm just going to sew the button onto the green part of his jumper. So I shall do that, then I shall come back and then we'll work on the arms and the legs. Okay, so I finished sewing on the button and I've knotted it on the inside. I've just shoved the tail ends on the inside for stuffing. Now what we're going to do, we're going to still leave the bottom undone for now, because we're going to make the arms and then we can sew on the arms, and it makes it easier to sew when it's open. So let's work on the arms next. But the first thing to do though, I want to use some of the green for the arms, and so, but I've only got one ball of green, so I'm going to leave myself quite a bit of yarn there so I can close up and cut that, just so I've got enough yarn to close up the bottom with a few decreases. If there's any left over I can use it as stuffing anyway, so nothing goes to waste. And then we're just going to put him to the side, and then we're going to take the white to begin, because we're going to do some like little hands and then do the green. And first things first, we do a chain 4 loop. So I'm going to take my white to begin again. Sorry about using the white. I haven't got a dark background, unfortunately. So I'm going to do a little chain 4 loops, to do a little slip knot. Chain 4, make sure I've got the right hook, yep, 2.5. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we're going to put our hook into the first chain, bring the yarn through the first chain, straight for the loop on the hook to do a slip stitch. There we go. And then in the middle is a little hole somewhere, and into that hole, there we go, we're going to do 5 single crochet this time. So in UK terminology that's a double crochet, so 5 single crochet. So I'm going to put my hook into the middle, hook into there, bring the yarn through. We'll do 5 single crochet. So 1, back into the center again, 2, 3, 'Just wrapping it around the chains, 4, and one more, 5. Okay, so 5 single crochet, then pull that center in tightly as you can. Then we're going to slip stitch into our first single crochet, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way over here. Slip stitch into there. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit fiddly, but by the end of that round you should have 5 single crochet, 5 stitches. Then what we're going to do is we are going to do 2 rounds of just 1 single crochet in each stitch around, so just 2 rounds. So we're going to do a little chain 1 to begin, so it's just like the main body. Chain 1, go back into the same stitch you just slip stitched into, and do 1 single crochet. 1, do 1 single crochet in each stitch around, so just up to 5. 1. It's a good idea to count as you go, so you don't work into that fake stitch. 2, 3, and just pop it out towards you. 3, 4, and last one, 5, and then count backwards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to find your first stitch, because that fake stitch there looks like a proper stitch. It's very easy to work into that without realizing it and end up a stitch count of 6, which if you do, it's not the end of the world. But we're going to skip that fake stitch, skip our tiny chain 1, find our first proper stitch over here, and I'm going to slip stitch into there. Just join that round. It's probably the most fiddliest round this for us, this second one. Okay, so pop it out towards you. We're going to do one more round with the white, so 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So chain 1 to begin, go back into the same stitch you slip stitched into and do a single crochet, 1 single crochet in each stitch around, so 1, count as you go, 2, 3, 4, that tail over, and 5, okay, then a little fake stitch is a bit smaller this time. There's our chain 1. Find your first proper stitch. If you find it hard to find your first proper stitch, just count backwards from your stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and slip stitch into there. But we're not going to yarn over with the white. We're going to yarn over with our green, because now we want to give him a little sleeve for his jumper. So we're going to put our green over that hook, bring that through instead, straight through the loop on your hook, and now you're working with the green. And we're going to do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to do 5 rounds in the green of just 1 single crochet in each stitch around, keeping a stitch count of 5, and do that for rounds 4 to 8. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 5 rounds. Okay, 5 rounds of just 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So I should do that, and I should come back. I'm going to cut my white now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie my little green tail end and my white tail end together just to keep them secure. Then if I just bring up, when you do tie that, keep your hook in the loop, because then it stops your loop disappearing. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to using some blunt scissors, I'm just going to push these tail ends on the inside just to get them out of the way. You can trim them down as well. So I shall do this, and I shall do my 5 rounds in the green, and I shall come back. Okay, so I've finished doing my 5 rounds in the green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still got a stitch count of 5, so you're only doing 1 stitch in each. Slip stitch to join. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to just take a bit of a long tail, and I'm going to sew it onto the body. So just pull that through, and then we're going to sew it onto the body. Where is it gone? Just take your yarn needle, and then just sew this on. So I'm not going to stuff the arms because they're very small. Okay, so we're going to line it up to about his shoulder. It's about there, just slightly below that green line. Then go into the arm, not catch it on the bottom. Always happens on camera. Then back into the body a bit. And into the next stitch. Then into the body a little bit. then into the next stitch, into the body a little bit, turn it upside down, into the next stitch, into the body a bit, and any stitches left, put it nice and tight, into the body a bit more, come around the inside, go a little bit back into the arm, and once that's secure you can just thread it to the inside out through the bottom. Pull nice and tight, and then you can use that for stuffing if you want to. So that's one of the arms. I'm going to repeat that for the other arm and sew that on, and I shall come back and show you what to do next. Okay, so I've repeated all those steps for the second arm and I've sewn that on. So it's just all we've got to do now left is we're going to add a little bit of stuffing now, and we're going to close him up. So I'm going to grab some stuffing. Okay, so I've got a little bit of toy stuffing, and I'm just going to make sure the yarn you're working with is left out. We're just going to stuff the main body. Okay, so I've finished stuffing that. I can always add a little bit more once I've closed him up a little bit. What we're going to do now though is close him up. So we're going to put our hook back into this loop that we left from before, all our sewing, and we are going to do a pattern of, now we're going to do one single crochet in the next stitch, then we're going to single crochet 2 stitches together, and repeat that all the way around. First thing though is we are going to do a little chain one to begin. We'll do 1 single crochet in the same stitch we slip stitched into, and then we're going to single crochet the next 2 stitches together. You can do the invisible decrease if you want to. I'm not going to bother on this one, keep it nice and simple. So go into the next stitch, bring the yarn through, into the next stitch, bring the yarn through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3, the single crochet 2 stitches together. Then we repeat that all the way around, so 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and then single crochet the next 2 stitches together. So into the next stitch, keep the stuffing out of the way, next stitch, bring the yarn through, stop, to the next stitch, bring the yarn through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3. So repeat that all the way around, doing 1 single crochet in the next stitch, single crochet 2 together, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, single crochet 2 together. You'll end on single crocheting the last 2 together, slip stitch to join, and our stitch count should have gone back down to 16. Okay, so let's do that. Single crochet, single crochet 2 together. Okay, so just coming up to the last 3 stitches, so we do 1 single crochet in the next stitch, same pattern, single crochet the last 2 together. Then we slip stitch in our first stitch, so that's our little fake stitch there. Slip stitch in your first stitch, just join around. Okay, so your stitch count should have gone back down to 16. We're going to do another decrease round. We're just going to single crochet 2 stitches together until the end. So we're going to reduce our stitch count down to 8. Start off with a little chain one though. And starting in the same stitch you slip stitched into, single crochet 2 together. So to the next stitch as well, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3, then single crochet the next 2 together, and just repeat that all the way round to the end, single crocheting 2 stitches together. Okay, so just coming up to the last 2 stitches. Single crochet those 2 together, Then that's your fake stitch. Find your first, single crochet two together, and we're going to slip stitch into there. Okay. Then just pull up the remaining yarn through. Okay, so you're left with a tiny hole. We're just going to sew the remaining hole closed. It just needs a little bit more stuffing at the end. So I'm going to add a little bit more stuffing first. Okay, so I've added a little bit more stuffing to the end. Just make sure you're happy with him as he is. And now I'm just going to sew up the remaining hole. So we're going to take the yarn needle, take your yarn. Need to trim mine down a bit. There we go. I left a little bit too much. Use that stuffing. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into that stitch and then just out the next stitch. We're going to drawstring the remaining hole closed. Okay. Then in the next stitch and out through the next stitch. Give that little pull. Then in the next stitch, out the next stitch. Just do that all the way around, pulling it close. You kind of run out of stitches towards the end, so just sew where you can. Your needle fell, and I think about one more. Okay, so I think that's closed enough, and I'm just going to hide my turn end. I'm going to sew in. I'm going to come out somewhere on the body for a stitch. Doesn't matter where. Bring that in. Don't pull too tight because you don't want to distort it. Then go back in the stitch came out. Go over to the other side. Out for a stitch. Catches on all the stuffing on the inside. Disappears in there. I'll do it one more time. Come out over here. Disappears in there. Then you just put your project down and push the body down a little bit. Hold that tight. Grab your scissors, cut as close as you can. And then the tail end just disappears on the inside when you let go. So there we go, there he is with his bottom closed and his arms. What we're going to do now is we're going to make the legs, and they're exactly the same as the arms, we just make them a little bit longer. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get some more white for his feet. You can use a different colour if you want to give him shoes. But the first thing to do is to get our white. Okay, so we're going to get our white yarn, and same thing again, same as the arms, do a chain 4 loop to begin. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Put your hook into your first chain. Bring the yarn through the first chain and straight through the loop on your hook. And then we're going to work, same as the arms, 5 single crochet into the center of this 4 chain loop, so into the middle there. Hook into the middle. Bring the yarn through, then wrapping it around the chains, do a single crochet. We'll do 5 again, so the same as the arms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pull that hole closed, slip stitch into your first single crochet. Okay, so you've got 5 single crochet by the end of that first round. Then we're going to do 2 rounds of 1 single crochet in each stitch round, same as the arms. Do a little chain 1 first, but don't count that as a stitch. Starting in the same stitch you just slip stitched into, do 1 single crochet in each stitch around, and do that for 2 rounds. 2 rounds. 2. Okay, just come out to the last stitch on the second round. 5. But this time when we slip stitch into our first stitch there, so I'll tie a little fake stitch, chain 1, find your first proper stitch. We're going to put a hook into there to begin. Okay, pull that. But instead of yarning over the white, I'm going to yarn over with the green. And then you can do as many rounds as you like. You can do the same amount of rounds as the arms, or you can make them longer. Let's just join this green first. Hold that. Hold it. Bring that through. Now we're working with our green. So you can do either, on this little guy I did about 9 rounds for the leg, but on this one I did about 13, so I made these even longer. So you can make the legs as long or as short as you like. You can make them the same length as the arms if you want. See how long you want them to be. So I'm probably going to do, I'll do about 10 rounds I think in the green. Same thing, just do a chain 1 at the beginning, 1 single crochet in each stitch round, slip stitch to join, keeping a stitch count of 5. I'm going to do that for about 10 rounds, okay, and then I'm going to do that for the other leg as well, and then I'm going to sew them on. So I should do all of that and then I shall come back. So 10 rounds in the green to begin. I can cut my white now as well. Just a little extra actually as I'm working these green rounds. If you do get sick of joining the rounds at the end, you can just work continuously, not joining the rounds, and just work like a snail's shell without joining the rounds. Because now you're in the green, it doesn't matter. The only reason we're joining the rounds at the beginning is to get a straight colour join on the colour changes. But once you're in the green, that doesn't make any difference. So you can just, when you get to the end, as long as you count as you go, so you get a rough idea of how many rounds you're doing. So are we at the end of the round? So this is the end of the round here, that's our fake stitch there. I'm just going to go straight into that first stitch, but instead of slip stitching, I'm just going to do a single crochet and just carry on. So no chaining 1 and no slip stitching at the end, just working continuously, because it makes no difference. So it's just a bit easier for you. Right. 10 rounds. Okay, so I've done about 10 rounds in the green, and I'm just going to cut myself a longish tail just to sew it on. Just pull that through, then repeat all those steps for your second leg. So I'm going to do that and then I'm going to come back. Okay, so I've repeated those steps again and got my second leg, and what I'm going to do now is sew these on to the bottom the same way I sewed the arms on, and I'm just going to replace them either side of the center hole, so literally just like that. So I'm going to do that, sew them on, and then all that's left to do is to make his little hat. So there we go. Okay, so I finished sewing on the legs, and there we are, he's almost finished. He just needs his little hat. So I'm going to do the hat in pink, and the first thing to do is we are going to chain 24. So let's get my yarn ready. Okay, so I'm going to get my pink yarn. It's getting really dark now, so sorry the lighting's not very good in my video. But I'm going to chain 24. 24, so we're going to start from the bottom up. 1, 2, 3, and 24. Okay, so I've chained 24. What we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch into our first chain. So making sure your yarn's at the top, we're going to just bend this in half and find your first chain that you made. We're going to put our hook into there. And bring the yarn through that first chain and straight through the loop on your hook to join the round, and it's going to make a really sort of quite a big loop, and it's going to work from the bottom up. Then what we're going to do is we are going to work 1 single crochet, so that's double crochet in UK terminology, 1 single crochet in each stitch around, keeping a stitch count of 24, and we're going to do that for 3 rounds. Okay, so for 3 rounds. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go back into the first stitch we just slip stitched into and do a single crochet in there. We're just going to work continuously in the round as well. We're not going to join the rounds because it'd be a bit easier just to work continuously. So 1, then in the next chain do a single crochet. So we're going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch around without joining the rounds, keeping stitch count of 24, and we're going to do that for 3 rounds. Okay, 3 rounds. So 2, it's coming up to the end, 23. I've got to put my light on, special lamp. 24. So it's a good idea to count, especially on the first round. 24. Then you need to find your first single crochet that you made. Now there's a stitch, it looks like there's a stitch here. Be careful not to work into that. Do make sure you've got a stitch count of 24. Find that first single crochet that you made, you can see it there, and slip stitch. Now don't slip stitch, just put your hook into that first single crochet for the first one of your next round, and we're going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch around again. So 1 single crochet in there for our second round. So you want 3 rounds in total. So this is our second one. 2, 3. Okay, it's coming up to the end of the third round. 24. So we're not joining the round, we're not chaining one at the beginning, we're just working continuously around. So I've done 3 rounds, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Don't worry about the little distortion here, we'll sort that out at the end with a little bit of sewing. What we're going to do now is we're going to do a decrease round. We're going to do a pattern of 1 single crochet in the next 2, then we're going to single crochet 2 together, and we're going to repeat that all the way around. And our stitch count is going to go from 24 down to 18. Okay, so we're going to go straight into the next stitch. Do 1 single crochet in the next 2, so 1, next stitch 2, then we're going to single crochet 2 together. You can use the invisible decrease if you want to, if you know that already. We'll just do a nice simple decrease into the next stitch, stop, to the next stitch, stop, go into that properly. So you've got 3 loops, yarn over, pull for all 3. And repeat that to the end, and you should have a stitch count of 18. So we do 1 single crochet in the next 2 again, 1, next stitch 2, then single crochet 2 together. Okay. Repeat that back to the beginning, doing 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, single crochet 2 together, 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, single crochet 2 together. You should end on single crocheting 2 together. Okay, just coming up to the end, the last 2, single crochet the last 2 together. I know I'm back at the beginning. You can use a stitch marker if you want to, but I know I'm back at the beginning because of this bit here. So there we go, there's our first pattern set there. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 rounds of just 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So just 2 rounds of 1 stitch in each, keeping a stitch count of 18. Okay, so that's 1 single crochet in each stitch around. Do that for 2 rounds. So 1, 17, and the last one 18. Okay, so I've done 2 rounds of just 1 single crochet each stitch around. Still got a stitch count of 18. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a pattern of 1 single crochet in the next stitch, then single crochet 2 together, then 1 single crochet 2 together, then 1 single crochet 2 together, back to the beginning. You should end on single crocheting 2 together, and you should have a stitch count of 12. So we do 1 single crochet in the next stitch, okay, then single crochet 2 together, 3 loops, and just repeat that all the way around. So then 1 single crochet, just the 1, then single crochet 2 together. That's the beginning. Up to the end, last 3, 16 by itself, then 17 and 18 crocheted together. So our stitch count has gone down to 12. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do 2 rounds again of just 1 single crochet in each stitch around, keeping a stitch count of 12. Okay, do that for 2 rounds. So just do that, just come back, 1, okay, just coming up to the end, the second round, 11 and 12. Okay, she still have a stitch count of 12. And what we're going to do now is we are going to single crochet 2 stitches together all the way around. So just repeat that all the way around until we get a stitch count of 6. So we're cutting it in half. So we literally just go into the next stitch, bring the yarn through, go into the next stitch, bring the yarn through, yarn over, pull through all 3, and repeat that all the way around, single crocheting 2 together to the end. So you've got a stitch count of 6. Okay, so you should now have a stitch count of 6. You can see it's getting much smaller. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 rounds of 1 single crochet in each stitch round, so keeping a stitch count of 6. So just count up to 6 twice. Just 1 in each. Okay, 1, and the very last one on the second round, 6. There we go. I've just done 2 rounds. 1 single crochet in each stitch round, keeping a stitch count of 6. So we're going to sew the remaining gap closed in a drawstring style, just like we did for the bottom of the elf. So I'm going to cut a little bit of yarn, and I'm going to pull that through. I'm just about running out of light. Pull that through, grab our yarn needle, and same as before, we just go into the next stitch, out the next one, and just tighten it closed. The next stitch, out the next one, till it becomes a point. And there we go, you won't have to do it very much. And then if you want to add a bell on the end, I recommend sewing up through the middle and using this yarn to hook on a bell. So let's just, what colour bells you use? I might get a little green one. I picked these up from, I think I said Neither Works, which is quite good for little trinkets like that. So I've got a tiny, this needle's not going to go through there. So I'm going to thread this onto a thinner needle and get that bell on. Okay, so I've threaded that onto my needle. This should go for my little bell. Okay, and then I'm going to sew this through, back through middle. I'm just going to come out the bottom, but what I am going to do is I'm not going to pull it tight. I'm just going to leave it a little bit loose so that it makes a noise. If I put it too tight like that, it doesn't make such a good sound. So leave it a little bit dangly, a bit loose. Then turn this inside out a little bit and just secure this yarn a little bit. So it stays in place. Like that. You can trim down the end, tuck that on the inside, and then this tail end, to neaten off this edge, get our yarn needle, it's easy to thread on, thread that on. Then I'm just going to go over to this stitch and just pull that, that will level it off a little bit. Do that again in the next stitch as well. There we go, not too bad. Sure you can do a neater job than me with more time. And then I'm just going to secure that on the inside just to hide it. And then stick that in there. There we go, that's his little hat finished. So where's he gone? There he is. To bring him in, and then just pop his hat on his head. You can of course sew this into place if you want to. I've done that on this one just sewn it on the same colour yarn so it doesn't come off, or you can just keep it loose like this little guy. I still think when he hasn't got his hat on, he looks like the Tucker Blocks character on Tucker Builder. If your children play that on the tablet, then that's what it reminds me of. But there we go, there is our little elf. You can sit on your shelf or in your tree or wherever you want him to be. But I will see you soon for some more crochet fun. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye. What I might do now actually is get a little bit of fabric glue. I've got all like these little tiny little trinkets of stuff. I've got some stars there, so I might put little stars around his hat just to make him more sparkly. Okay, just to finish at the very end, I've just added a few sparkly stars I had, which I picked up also from the wax, and glued those. But I shall see you soon for some more crochet fun. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.